Hello you guys, and thank you so much for tuning into my video. It has been a hot minute. It really has been a hot minute since I've made a video, but I'm so excited to be talking to you guys again. Now, before I get into the video, I just wanted to tell y'all that for whatever strange reason, YouTube has started deleting some of the comments on my channel. I don't know why, or some people's comments just never get shown. And it's the weirdest and most frustrating thing, because I think for me personally, like, I don't think of myself as a YouTube creator or anything like that. But the most frustrating thing is I've always wanted this to be a space for genderqueer and trans women especially to come and share their feelings and to just feel loved. And I've always wanted my channel to kind of be a place where people feel like they're not alone. You know what I mean? Where we can sort of like talk about our issues and find healthier ways to deal with some of the challenges we experience. So if your comment has been deleted, please know that I'm not the one deleting comments. The only comments that I do delete are comments that are transphobic. And even with those, sometimes, for whatever reason, I miss some of them. Because I never want somebody to get onto my channel and go through the comment section and read something really transphobic. I just try to kill it. So, I hate how a big part of transitioning is relationships and how we as trans identified people navigate our way through the world of love. But it's a reality, you know, it's a reality that I think that we all face. Look, I'm somebody who's really good at being single. Like, I'm really good at being by myself. And I don't think of myself as a needy person by any means. But even I've encountered these men where I sort of have to sit back and be like, brah, what is going on? What the actual fuck is going on? Because, I don't know, like, I've noticed a trend, and I'm not going to say all trans-attracted men are this way, or all tranny chasers are this way, or all DL men are this way, because I haven't met all of them, and I wouldn't want to put that on any group. But why is it, though, like, when you're in the trans dating scene, it seems like the guys that are attracted to you, or the guys that want to talk to you, are these Looney Tune, Tom and Jerry motherfuckers that are batshit crazy. Excuse my French, but I've talked to so many people. I'm very open. Like, even on the dating websites that I go to, and when I go to nightclubs and stuff or bars, like, I'll talk to people and I'll tell them. Yeah, I tell people my tea, and I usually get the weirdest comments, the weirdest requests, just from these trans-attracted men. And they often seem to be like the worst. I don't want to say they're the worst types of guys out there, but just the ones I've interacted with, brah. Like, gal, some of these trans-attracted men seem to, it's almost as though, like, I've always kind of gotten the feeling that some trans-attracted men act as though they're doing you a favor by dating you. So, we have to look at trans-attracted men just as a whole. A lot of these guys, they find out that they actually do like trans women. And how do they find out about us? Predominantly through pornography. You know, they go onto Pornhub, they fall into the porn rabbit hole, and they come across trans women, and they become almost enamored with us, and a fetish develops. Cool, whatever. I'm very sex positive. I have nothing against porn or the women that do it. But these men, it sometimes feels as though their introduction into the trans world is through pornography. And they project all of their lustful desires onto us as though we're not human beings. And like, I've spoken to so many guys where I'm just kind of like, at this point, it's not even about whether or not you've met a trans woman before. Have you met a human being before? Have you met a woman before? What in your mind would make you believe that your approach or the way you're talking to some of these women is going to be successful? And the same guys who come up to us and who are all like, oh, I want to do, like, just in the first line, they want to talk about their fetishes and what they want to do and how soon they're going to do it. The same guys who just bombard us with these horribly explicit sexual messages want to be shocked, want to feel some type of way, want to get into their feelings when the girls want to charge them. And it's kind of like, I understand why some girls have resorted to just selling their bodies with these men, because the feeling that I've gotten from so many of these guys is that they see us as though we are these living sex dolls, solely put on this planet to fulfill their sexual desires. And it just boggles my mind. It really, really boggles my mind. I remember, like, bruh, like, you'll have, like, the white supremacists talking to you. You'll have, like, these guys who want to, like, who have these very explicit fetishes. And they just assume that you're going to be keen and that you're going to be open and that you're going to want to do whatever it is that they want to do. And it's kind of hard because even guys, trans attracted men that aren't like terrible assholes, even with some of them, when I talk to some of them, they will always want to go back to the sex thing. They will always want to sexualize me. And you get to a point where you're just tired. You're just tired. You know what I mean? And I'm at a point in my life where I have no issue with being alone. I actually think I would rather be single and alone than be with somebody that made me feel like I was alone. I would rather be by myself than be with somebody who made me feel like I was misunderstood. Rather that than be with somebody who would gaslight the fuck out of me. Rather that than be with somebody who's going to be embarrassed of who I am. I mean, my thing is, I fought so hard to be me. I fought so hard to be Christabel. And now to throw myself into a relationship or to throw myself into some type of sexual situation where the person so invalidates me, like, what sense would that make? And I remember I was watching this one thing that Tyler Perry said, and he sort of said that, you know, after all these years of going through the trauma of your childhood, the trauma of high school, and just the whirlwind that was your upbringing, to get to a point now in your adulthood, now when you're like 19, 18 plus, to be with a man who is going to bring you back to that pain and make it even worse. No, brah, I'd rather be happy and single. I'd honestly rather be happy and single, because there is no relationship that exists on this planet that is, you know, that I can have at the expense of myself. I've gotten to a point just as a woman where I value myself to such a high degree that I'm simply not going to ever allow myself to lower my standards and be with a guy that's going to make me feel like I have to be some type of character that he saw on Pornhub. And I'm at a point right now where even, like, I know, like, so many of us deal with rejection from from cisgender, heterosexual, heteronormative guys. So many of us deal with rejection that we get to a point where you almost feel like you'll never be loved, and you're almost rummaging through the garbage trying to find the scraps that you can just so you can have a little bit of love. I'm past that point now. I'm past that point now because I realize that no one is going to love me the way that I love myself. No one is going to understand me the way that I understand myself. You know what I mean? And I need to first cultivate so much self-love within myself and so much self-respect within myself that when I step into the dating world, I can confidently push some of these idiots away. You know what I mean? And the thing is, I feel like with dating in the trans world, you become successful through trial and error. You really knock your head a couple of times until you get to a point where you realize that I'm valuable. I'm actually really, really valuable, and I'm not going to let this man let me think otherwise. One thing that I really, really hate about certain relationships is this idea that one partner is better than the other partner. And I've met so many guys that date transgender women or that sleep with transgender women and sleep with genderqueer folks and will step into that world believing that they are the prize. I mean, the confidence that some of these mediocre heterosexual men have is astronomical. They'll walk in thinking that, well, you must be so happy and so relieved to finally have somebody like me, that anything that I do is okay and what you do is wrong and what you do is crazy and this, that, and the other. And they're so quick to label us as psychos. They're so quick to label us as crazy. They're so quick to say that we are the ones that have all of these issues. And yes, I do understand as transgender women, we go through a lot of trauma and we sometimes develop unhealthy coping mechanisms. But part of the trauma that we develop comes from relationships, comes from these toxic relationships. And I'm just not here for it. I'm literally just not here for it. I've never been here for it. I've never, ever, ever been here for it. And I think I've been lucky enough in my transition. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and I realized how lucky I've been in some regards, that the guys that I've actually allowed into my life, the men that I've actually dated, have been respectful. And part of the reason that I've had so much luck is because I have a baseline standard of what I'm willing to accept. I am not so uncomfortable with being by myself and being lonely that I will allow any random dude to do whatever the hell they want to do to me. And I must just take it. Life doesn't work that way. It literally does not work that way. So I just want you, my beautiful, beautiful transgender sister, to understand that you're valuable, you're loved, you're important, and you're deserving of your fairy tale romance. And you know what? If you haven't received that wonderful boyfriend or girlfriend yet, just love yourself in the meantime. You know, like, get to a point where you're comfortable with being by yourself. Because how are you ever going to be with somebody else if you don't know how to be with yourself? You know what I mean? And like, I was talking to another trans friend of mine, and she was just talking about how she just wanted things to get better. She wanted her situation to get better. And her situation was her dating situation. And I was just saying to her, like, you talk about better as though there is something wrong with right now. As though, you know, on the other side of the pendulum, on the other side where you are in a relationship, that is what's going to be perfect for you. And on this side, everything is just terrible and nothing is good because you don't have that significant other. Your life can be good as a single trans woman. You don't have to just settle for these Mickey Mouse guys who play these Looney Tune games. And like some of them are really, really ridiculous. I had a guy, and I never like to talk about my subscribers, especially not in a negative way. I had this guy who sort of said, I'm a DL man and I'm not a coward. And I just thought to myself, there they start with their games. Because that sentence in and of itself is an oxymoron. Down low means that you are secretive about your sexual desires, about your sexual activities. You're secretive. You do these things at night and you don't want anyone to know. How does that not make you a coward? And I just don't entertain these conversations with these men anymore, because you're gonna argue yourself into oblivion, because they don't listen. And you know what? They don't have to. As long as you know what the truth is, as long as you know what your value is, as long as you understand that you're beautiful and you understand that you're deserving of love, that's the only thing that really matters. These Mickey Mouse guys that are playing these Looney Tune games, they're going to go and do whatever the hell they want to do, and you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. But you just have to set standards for yourself. You have to set a baseline standard. You literally, I have this thing where I have this notebook and I write a list of attributes that I look for in a partner. Loyalty, honesty, compassion, empathy. You know, those types of things where like I write down a list and I'm like, if you don't have these things, you're not for me. You simply are not for me. There was a guy that I was talking to, and he was a black South African guy, and he was just talking about how he just wanted to be with me and he wanted to take care of me, but under his conditions. And his conditions were that I wouldn't be with anybody else, obviously, but I would be his secret. You know what I mean? I would be his secret. And he was ready to set me up in an apartment, do all of the things. But I needed to be his secret, and I needed to be available for him whenever he needed. And I just thought, am I a pair of socks? Like, what? What on earth would make you think that I would be willing to sign up for that? What gives you the impression that my self-esteem is so shattered that I'm going to willingly go into a relationship like this? And, you know, he was offended and he sort of said, oh, well, I'm a catch and any other, and he used the tranny word, and y'all know how I feel about that. He was like, oh, any other trans girl would be so like honored to have a guy like me, you don't know what you've missed out on, this, that, and the other. And I said to him in my language, so I speak Xhosa, and there's a sentence that my mom, or a phrase that my mom would always say, and she would always say, uThixo akandiphanga lo mntu. And what that means is, God has not given this person as a gift to me. So you are a gift. As twisted and as messed up as you are a gift, but you're somebody else's. You're not mine. And please return to sender. Please go back to who you're supposed to go to. Please go back to the woman that has low self-esteem, that would allow herself to be in that situation, because she is not me, and she will never be me. I know what my standards are, and I'm at a point in my life, even if I only meet my Prince Charming at 45, rather that than crying every single night over a man who mistreats me. Rather that than being worried about this DL man who's making me feel insecure, who's adding on to the insecurities that I already have. Rather that, I want to sleep peacefully at night, knowing that I don't have to go through anybody's phone. I don't need to be worried about anyone bringing me anything. I don't have to worry about these guys killing me, because let's just be real. A lot of these Mickey Mouse guys, they are the ones who kill the girls. They're the ones who sleep with the girls and then off them because they feel that their secret has been found out. They're the ones who do things like this. And I'm not about to play those types of games. I'm really not about to play those types of games. You know, there are certain problems that I feel like I shouldn't have to deal with. And the problem of being with a DL man or being with some Mickey Mouse crazy ass lunatic, that's not something I need to deal with. That's not something I'm willing to deal with. So just know that you're beautiful. You literally are beautiful. You're absolutely stunning. You are another way that the universe is expressing itself in human form. And you need to celebrate the beautiful, beautiful ambiguity of gender that is you. You need to celebrate the beautiful journey of womanhood that you have taken. You're the main star in this show. You are the protagonist. Now, is the protagonist really going to settle for some lunatic? And I know we always sort of enter these relationships with this hope and this idea that, oh, maybe he's going to change, maybe he's going to get better. Let me tell you something. Progress takes time and effort from the individual. It takes time and effort and you working on yourself, and it takes self-awareness. Progress is not inevitable. Change is. And yes, this Mickey Mouse guy that you're playing around with, he may change for the worse. He may deteriorate. The trauma that he's putting you through right now, girl, that's the honeymoon phase. That is the honeymoon phase. You haven't seen him go crazy yet. You literally haven't seen him go crazy yet. So I'm just like, and the thing is, there's no shortage of guys that are into trans girls. So that's another thing that sort of always annoyed me about some of these guys who come up to me and talk to me as though I am thirsty to be with somebody because I don't have options. I have more than enough options. I've more than enough options. And I've always hated how there'll be guys who are intrigued with me, but they want me to be the one who makes the first move. They want me to be the one that pursues them, because in their mind they've sort of cultivated and they've created an image of a trans woman that's going to run after them lustfully and who's going to try and trick them and try and convince them. That they want to play into that whole narrative of, I was seduced by this transsexual. And I'm like, that is so scripted. That's not real life. Look, if you really like me and if you really want to be with me, then come, let's talk. Get to know me. Pursue me as you would any other female. Pursue me as you would any other female. If you want me to take you seriously, you have to take me out to dinner. You have to show me public displays of affection. You have to listen to me. You have to be vulnerable with me. And I'm just not willing to accept anything other than my Prince Charming. And all these other toads that are busy hopping around trying to get my attention, y'all can hop. Y'all can hop until your feet fall off. But I am not going to play these Mickey Mouse games and to any other trans woman or gay man or gender non-conforming person that is in this situation and you're wanting love. Don't play these Mickey Mouse games, because as you're playing around with this fool, he is busy blocking you from your blessings. You're busy fixated on this lunatic who could one day kill you, who literally could, because guess what? Your killer is in your circle. Yes, honey. The person who could actually end up ending you is in your circle, is in your group. You know what I mean? So I'm not about to play these Mickey Mouse games with any of these guys, and I'm not about to lower my standards. And yeah, you know, I've been in situations where I've met really attractive guys, but they didn't come at me the right way, and I just ignored them, and I just brushed them off. I brushed them off in the same way that I would have brushed them off if I were born genetically female. I'm not going to have a different standard for myself just because I'm trans. And I'm not going to fall into this narrative that, oh, it's harder for us to find love and we face so much rejection. And I'm not about to torture myself with that old tape, because that old tape was bought, it was produced, it was manufactured by these creepy ass lunatic DL men. They're the ones who made it, and they're the ones who want you to buy into that rubbish. They want you to buy into that nonsense because it serves their purpose. It serves their purpose of sleeping with as many transgender girls as they want and just treating us terribly. Treating us terribly. I mean, I've heard stories of trans women who literally are with these dusty men that have no jobs. And because they're so desperate to find affection and to have somebody hold them and hug them, that they're willing to settle for anything and everything. And I'm just kind of like, girl, you literally deserve so much better. You literally deserve so much better. And better is coming for you. But just remember, better does not mean that there is something wrong with right now. In your single state, in your singleness, embrace that, enjoy that, celebrate that. Because it's a moment. It's a moment for you. This is your moment. You're gonna meet somebody. Don't freak out about it so much. You know what I mean? Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest because it's just something that's always annoyed me. But trust me, I know you want to be loved and I know you want to be held. And it's coming, baby girl. It literally is coming. So thank you so much for watching this little rant of mine. I hope you guys have an amazing week. I hope you guys, for the ones that celebrate Hanukkah and Christmas and Kwanzaa or whatever you celebrate, just have an incredible time and just be safe and just know that I love you. I love you. I don't know if that counts for anything or if it means anything, but I love you. And you're safe. And it's going to be okay. All right. Bye. See y'all later.